Let me ask you something, and I want you to pause for a second before answering. How many times have you said, "We'll wait until after the holidays," or "Let's see what January brings," or the classic one, "We are waiting for the spring market because that's when things will get better"? I hear this every single day, and on the surface, that logic makes complete sense. For decades, real estate was seasonal. Listings hit the market in the spring, families moved in the summer, and winter slowed everything down. But here's the uncomfortable truth most homeowners haven't fully accepted yet. The housing market no longer follows the calendar. This market is being driven by affordability, interest rates, buyer confidence, and price realism, not the season. And that misunderstanding is exactly why so many homes that could be on the market right now simply aren't. Not because people can't sell, but because they're waiting for a moment they believe will magically change the outcome. If you're new here, I'm Lily Vallario. I've been in real estate for over 21 years through multiple market cycles, booms, crashes, corrections, and everything in between. My job isn't to hype the market. It's not to scare you into making a decision. And it's definitely not to repeat outdated advice that no longer applies. My job is clarity. I help buyers and sellers understand how the market actually works today, so they don't make six-figure decisions based on hope, headlines, or advice that worked in a completely different economy. In this video, I want to give you real education, not just opinions, so that by the end, you can look at your situation and say, "Okay, now I understand why things feel this way." Let's talk about 2025 because a lot of people misunderstand what actually happened. 2025 didn't crash, but it didn't boom either. It was a patience test. Interest rates stayed higher than most people expected and for longer than most people planned for. Buyers didn't disappear, but their behavior changed dramatically. Instead of rushing, buyers slowed down. Instead of competing emotionally, they started competing mathematically. They stopped asking, "How do I win this house?" and started asking, "Does this payment make sense for my life?" That shift alone changed everything. If a home didn't justify the monthly payment, buyers didn't negotiate anymore. They walked, and that's a major difference from the previous years. On the seller side, when the market didn't immediately support those numbers, sellers made a very human decision. They waited. They didn't lower the price. They didn't reposition. They just paused. In 2025, pricing discipline became everything. Homes that were even slightly overpriced, sometimes by just $10,000, lost momentum almost immediately. Sellers thought, "I want to start a little higher and leave some room for negotiation." But in this market, that little bit mattered. Once the early momentum was lost in the first couple of weeks, many homes never fully recovered. The market didn't collapse. It stalled. Most sellers believe they're waiting for a better season, but what they're really waiting for usually falls in one of three categories. First, lower interest rates. Many sellers believe that once rates drop, buyers will suddenly have more money and prices will jump. What they often don't realize is that rates alone don't fix affordability if prices stay elevated. And just as important, when you hear that the Fed cut rates, that does not automatically mean mortgage rates drop. The Federal Reserve controls short-term borrowing, essentially how banks lend money to each other overnight. That can affect things like credit cards, car loans, or home equity lines of credit fairly quickly. Mortgage rates work differently. They're influenced by long-term expectations, inflation, and the bond market, not just a Fed announcement. So even when the Fed cuts rates, mortgage rates don't always follow right away. And sometimes they don't move much at all. That's one of the biggest misunderstandings I see from sellers. Unfortunately, the housing market doesn't automatically benefit just because the Fed cut rates. Second, strong buyer urgency. Sellers remember bidding wars and emotional buyers, but today's buyers are cautious by necessity, not by choice. Third, validation of price. Many sellers want the market to confirm the number they already have in their head. Here's the hard truth. Spring doesn't fix affordability. It doesn't eliminate payment shock, and it doesn't magically make buyers ignore math. When more homes hit the market, buyers have more options, and that usually leads to more negotiation, not less. Waiting only helps if something fundamental changes. Otherwise, it simply delays the same conversation. Today's buyers are not desperate. They are informed, cautious, and disciplined. They're evaluating homes through a much wider lens than buyers did just a few years ago. Monthly payment matters more than list price. Insurance and taxes are no longer afterthoughts. Maintenance risk is front and center. Buyers are asking better questions now. They want to know if this home still makes sense if their income changes, if rates stay higher, or if they need to sell again in a few years, not just if it works today. That's why well-priced, well-prepared homes still sell in any season. And it's why overpriced or poorly positioned homes sit, regardless of the month of the calendar. This shift isn't temporary, it's structural. Looking ahead to 2026, the market is shaping up to be balanced, not booming and not collapsing. Negotiation will be normal again. Buyers will take their time. Sellers will need strategy, not hope. In some price ranges, we'll see modest corrections. In others, we'll see stability. But across the board, realism will win. This market rewards preparation, pricing, discipline, and flexibility. Timing alone is no longer a strategy. If you're a seller waiting for spring, ask yourself one honest question. Are you waiting for the calendar, or are you waiting for the market to do something your strategy hasn't yet? And if you're a buyer, understand this. A buyer-friendly market doesn't mean sellers are desperate. It means you have room to negotiate thoughtfully and responsibly. If you're thinking about buying, selling, or repositioning in 2026, focus on understanding the market you're in now, not hoping it turns back into the one you remember. If this video helped you understand the market better, make sure to like it and subscribe for more straightforward, no-fluff real estate education. And I want to hear from you. Are you waiting or are you preparing? Drop your answer in the comments. I read every single one. Thanks so much for watching all the way through. I'm Lily Vallario with eXp Realty, and I've been helping people navigate real estate here in Maryland for over 21 years. But my real estate advice can be applied nationwide. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.